Hey there, it's Tank Girl, Myriam Joire. I'm here in Taipei, Taiwan for a little while, and of course Google I/O just happened. Dave of RedWeb has asked me to say hi to all of you on RedWeb in Bournemouth, United Kingdom, and I am here to tell you my thoughts on Google I/O. I was asleep actually when it was happening, but I did catch up and I have some ideas and some thoughts. So let's talk about this right now. Let me just bring up my notes. So my first thought is the Google Assistant, of course, was the big announcement. I think that it was inevitable for Google to come up with something to compete with Amazon Echo and Alexa. Of course, there's also Cortana and Siri, but frankly, in my experience using all these different things, the two experiences I really like the most have been Alexa in terms of this kind of immediate response and the fact that it's in your home and just kind of available all the time. And then the other thing that I've really liked is obviously Google Now and Google voice searching. I feel that Google really has nailed the experience, especially the integration with things like your email, your calendar, and stuff like that. So it's interesting and good to see Google, be more Alexa-ish with its technology. Unfortunately, it's a bit surprising to me that they didn't pick a name for the assistant. I think that having named the assistant, like Apple did with Siri and Microsoft with Cortana, would have gone a long way for Google, because right now it's just like OK Google still, right? So that's a bit odd. And as you can hear, my phone thought I was just talking to it. So anyway, obviously the Assistant's a great step forward, but it wouldn't be everything without Google Home. And Google Home is a direct competitor to Amazon's Echo, Alexa's vehicle, basically, for the Amazon ecosystem. It is also something that looks like a cylinder. I'm drinking a lovely cappuccino, don't mind me. But basically, it completes directly with Echo. It's a Wi-Fi speaker that takes voice commands and is able to interface with all of your home automation. I haven't checked out to see what it integrates with. Obviously, Echo currently integrates with a lot of things, including Nest, Philips Hue, things like the Almond router, and a bunch of others. And I'm hoping that Google is as comprehensive in its list of home automation integration, because really when you have a device like Google Home, that's what you want. You want to be able to not just listen to music and watch videos on demand through commands, but you actually want to control your entire home. So let's find out as it develops. I'm excited about it because I'm a big fan of Echo and I have a lot of home automation products, and as you know, a lot of the companies I work with are in the IoT space. The next two things that I thought were really interesting were, of course, Allo and Duo, the two kind of pair apps, one messaging, the other one video conferencing or calling. They seem to be very consumer oriented, whereas Hangouts has really kind of remained mostly used in business, in my opinion. But also interesting that they're not abandoning Hangouts. So let's talk about Allo first. Allo seems to me like a direct hit at Facebook Messenger, WeChat, and WhatsApp. And of course, it gains some benefits over these by having the power of the Google Assistant, which is really, really cool. It also is cross-platform, iOS and Android, which is really interesting. But to me, it won't be a complete thing until it can compete with iMessage. And I want to see Google integrate text messaging into Allo somehow. So we'll see what happens. Duo seems to be a video conferencing app optimized for, basically the ability to work well on low connections, low speed connections, which is really important. It scales well in terms of its codec. That's one of the biggest challenges with most video conferencing technologies today. Skype does an okay job, but I hope that Duo can show us how to do it right. And it seems to be a direct competitor to their own Hangouts, but also mostly to kind of FaceTime, right? And it really is geared to consumers. The one cool feature is that you can see what people are doing. The video starts right away before you even accept the call, so you can see what they're doing before you pick up, and you choose to not pick up if for some reason it's not somebody you want to talk to. Interesting idea. I hope you can turn that off, because obviously I'm not necessarily sure I want people to see what I'm doing before they pick up. Obviously, the next big announcement was Android N, the next version of Android, which hasn't been named, and I think they're still looking for a candy name for N. I don't know, Nutter or something? Yeah, I'm not sure. Apparently some performance improvements, all kinds of VR compatibilities for the next technology I'll be speaking about, which is Daydream. Security and multitasking improvements. I'm very much looking forward to the multitasking improvements. I'm a huge fan of Android, as you know. I also use iOS, but primarily Android, you know, lots of phones in my pockets, like the Huawei P9 and the HTC 10, and you know, I have a Galaxy S7, a G5, and an a Huawei Nexus 6P. So I have a bunch of phones and I use them and love them. And for me, the biggest thing is multitasking is better on Android than iOS. And so I see these improvements that they've announced to even further make my productivity higher and more effective, which is great. But let's see how it develops. Obviously, as a new version of Android every year, and it's, to me, you know, I don't really get excited about it. I just expect it, and hopefully it gets my experience and my everyday life better. Daydream, though, is really interesting to me. It's really like Google Cardboard, but grown up into a solid technology that can compete with Gear VR, and I think that's a good thing. I like Gear VR. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of Oculus and Vive, even though I think they are absolutely phenomenal in terms of quality. But the idea to have a dedicated room and an entire PC to attach to them doesn't seem to make sense to me. So I think mobile devices, your phone, is going to be the next generation of what will drive VR, because it's affordable. But of course it requires high quality headsets that you can slip your phone into, or dedicated displays you can plug your phone into, like the LG one that they announced alongside the G5, the LG Friend. But those you know, will now really be served well by the Daydream Cardboard version 2.0, if you want to call it that. Interestingly, Google Play Store is gaining an entire VR browsing area, which I think shows that Google is being very serious. And then there's a Daydream Controller, and that's, to me, really the killer app, because what really does make those dedicated Oculus and Vive products better is that you're holding a controller, and with the Gear VR, you don't have that. Your phone is slipped into this headset. You have to use these little side controls on the device. This frees your hands and lets you control things and gives you a very close to kind of a mini Oculus or a mini Vive experience using your phone with this controller in your hand, and a much more affordable setup that you can use anywhere. So I'm very gung-ho and excited about Daydream, because I think it's about time that we have competition for Gear VR, which is right now the only serious player, I think, in the mobile VR space. And finally, of course, Android Wear 2.0 announcement. I will be more excited about it when I have it on my device. I have a Huawei watch here on my wrist. It's, you know, it all seems like a bunch of logical evolutionary improvements, which are going to be very welcome, especially things like offline music playback, and the ability to use your watch more when you're not connected to a phone. Things like writing recognition, I don't think I'm going to use much. But that's, you know, in a nutshell, what happened at Google I/O yesterday. I guess for me, yesterday, since it's noon in Taiwan. And for you guys, I guess it was, I'm not sure what time it was in the UK when this happened, but in the US it was in the morning. So I'm going to sign out. I hope that this was informative, that you have a better understanding what happened at Google I/O, and you know, obviously you might have different opinion on this. Please let everybody know here in the comments, etc., etc. And what I was going to say is that Dave's asked me to pitch myself a little bit. So in case you don't know me, I'm a tech journalist. I used to work at Engadget. I have my own blog. Go to it. It's tnkrl.com, tnkgrl.com. You can find me on Twitter at tnkgrl. And of course, you know, I'm all over the place. I write for Mobile Geeks. I write for Pocket Now. I write sometimes for Android Central. I write for Uber Gizmo. So go find me there. The other thing you should know is that I'm a consultant. Most of my time and work and energy is consumed by helping startups launch. If you have a startup and you want to launch, come talk to me. I'm very good at advising you and helping you through the launch process with things like product strategy, marketing strategy, PR strategy, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that's what I do. Part journalist, part professional launch consultant. Ping me, Tank Girl is my blog, and in case you want to email me directly, it's tankgirl, tnkgrl@gmail.com. Cheers, guys. I hope you enjoyed your Google I.O. day, and goodbye from Taipei.